Hey, Desiree here with Soul Path Astrology, your intuitive counselor on the channel. If you're new here, welcome to this week's Astro Report and three-card tarot spread. If you're returning, hello, my beauty soul fam. I love you so much. My apologies that this one is coming out a day late. Um, yeah, this week's wild. The energy of this week is wild. The astrology is crazy. I'm so excited to jump into the astrology weather and really, I'm hoping connect with all that's going on. If you're returning and if you're new, find this out. I'm always referencing my own life as a way to sort of bring to life the astrology that's going on. I love grounding it in my own lived experiences because that just makes sense to me. And my hope is that it makes sense to you as patrons and viewers of this channel. Do let me know. Let me know if that kind of thing lands, if you like the personal stories or if that muddies the water. I'd actually like to know. But without further ado, let's jump into the Astros this week. Actually, before I do that, quick rundown on how the channel works in case you're new here. I'm going to do the weather, then we're going to do a little meditation, minute, maybe 2 minutes long, just to ground and center. I'll give you an opportunity to have a look at the three cards. You may feel drawn towards one, two, perhaps all three of them. Trust your instincts on that. Time stamped in the comments or in the description of the video will be each card. So you can just fast forward to the one that it is, calling to. Watch all three if you want. They almost always tell a story. And at the very end, I do encourage you to watch right to the end because there's usually a little downloaded nugget of love that wraps everything up in a beautiful bow, and you can take that forward with you into the rest of the week. Yeah. Okay. Now let's jump into the Astros. I've decided to focus on this little window of opportunity, this energetic window of crazy awesome between the 19th and the 21st of this month. So you've probably, if you follow astrology, you've been hearing other astrologers talk about three-eye atlas. It's this astrological thing. They're not sure what it is. They don't believe it has an orbit. They think it's just coming through and then it's leaving our system. It's at its closest on the 19th to Earth. When I feel into it, when I connect into the energy of Three Eye Atlas, there's something about it that has to do with bringing in a new code, much in the same way that, like, when Jesus arrived here, or like Buddha, or any of the other figureheads that held a certain resonance for unconditional love, for stillness, for peace, for love, for life. Mary Magdalene herself held a lot of these codes in her being. There's this energy that I think Three Eye Atlas is bringing into the galactic, our solar system's energetic coding that's bringing in a new. Jesus brought unconditional love. This is something tied in with that. I love that it's happening right around the winter solstice, which of course is attributed to Jesus's birth and Christmas and all that. And we don't need to argue the details or semantics around that. What I want to focus on is the archetype of unconditional love, the archetype of innocence, and the archetype of the masculine. So, because the men are not okay out there, you guys. It is like, holy hell. Men have no idea how to men, and I don't blame you. It's been confusing. Women, we're not even sure what we want. We're struggling to articulate it. We're trying to find what it means to find power in being feminine, since all we've been given is a masculine prototype to draw from. I'm probably going to dive into that a little bit more when we get into the cards, and it wouldn't surprise me if it comes up in that final nugget at the end. There's something really potent here about the masculine being invited into an evolutionary leap. And when I say the masculine, what I'm referring to is that the impulse, to move forward, the forward penetrative impulse, the thing that takes the infinite everything that's nothing, that's everything, that is the feminine, that's just like potential, and it collapses it into a something. And when this is aligned well, when this is informed by unconditional love, when this impulse, when love making is, the impulse is from reverence, from joy, from awe, from wonder, when this is, rather than it being consumptive, when it's offered, right? So when the masculine penetrative energy is offered in service to the feminine whole, and it offered in service to God, however that translates for you, it shifts everything. I'm wearing a sexy little kimono today because this energy is like, I don't know what's going on with it, and I'm just going to roll with it. But there is a creative force afoot that is asking us to elevate how we see creativity, how we see sex, how we see our roles, how we perceive receptive energy and penetrative energy. And how can we dance with those? How do we find those within ourselves? How do we dance with them in more beautiful ways with each other, with the planet? The concept that like dropped in this week for me that might be extremely controversial. And if you don't like this, that's okay. You can just never come back to my channel. That's totally no problem. But it was like God is lover. So rather than being like a little child of God, what would it be to be on his lover to and their lover? You know, if there's anything that should be a they, it would be God, I think. What would it be to be God's lover, to be with a dom type presence that actually wants to see your pleasure come to fruition and your pleasure in how it's connected to the good of everything, regenerative joy, right? Imagine if that was actually the dynamic, and what would it be to be so deeply surrendered to this omnipotent loving force that just wants creativity and love and interconnection and healing to just be the underlying permeating force, the story from which everything else emerges. Just something, so just some little things to think about. No big deal. No big deal. Nothing controversial here. Okay, that's Three Eye Atlas. Okay, this is the energy that when I tap into, that's what I'm getting. Okay, Sagittarius new moon on the 20th, and this is also happening just a couple degrees off the galactic center, which is like this gravitational force that, you know, is said to be the center of where our solar system is emerging from. Some might call it, from an archetypal standpoint, the birth canal, right? And so here we have this new moon. New moons are always about new beginnings. Sagittarius, this is wild new philosophies. It's freedom. Sagittarius is world traveling, and like I'm going to welcome us into imagining ourselves as galactic beings, like moving beyond just the planet and seeing like yourself as being multidimensional. And in order to do that in a way that's healthy and whole so that we don't spread the sickness of separation around, we need to reunite ourselves with ourselves. We need to elevate how we interface with one another. Sagittarius energy is inviting us into wild new ideas, new creative possibilities. It's like you imagine this blank canvas and like, what if you could do and be and arrive for anything? What do you want to paint there? You know, like this is like such an awesome, amazing energy. So there's that. Then, if that's not all enough, we've got the Capricorn solstice on the 21st. Solstices, this is the longest night of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. The solstices are always like starting ending points, like simultaneous, because they're equal. Like in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the longest night. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's the longest day. So it's a turning point, right? It's like this marker energetically of this ends and this begins. And for us in the Northern Hemisphere, this is very much about the beginning of spring, even though it feels like it's in the depth of winter. Seeds are planted in the dark, right? I mean, growth actually begins in the dark. We think it's when that little green has sprouted through the soil, but it's been doing a hell of a lot of work actually before you see anything on the surface. This is where we're at right now. Collectively, we're in this loamy soil, this richness. It's actually going to be spring, but you can't see it yet. It doesn't feel it. It certainly doesn't hear. It's like nothing, but I can't even see on my window. It's so foggy and snowy and cloudy right now, but it's coming in. So what seeds do you want to plant? What unconditionally loving seeds do you want to plant? What exciting, beautiful new world do you want to plant? What kind of way do you want to be seen and see others? How do you want to dance with your feminine and your masculine energy, with your receptivity? Where do you want to deeply surrender? And where do you want to laser focus and create and build. These are some of the amazing energies that are coming up, the archetypal energy. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't want to get into, but you can certainly go watch Sabrina Lynn with Rewilding. She'd be amazing. Pam, she speaks to, why can't I remember her last name? I always forget it. Anyways, I'll probably put a comment a link to them in the comments, because these are two great astrologers that love to talk about astrology in a way that's similar to me. It's far more archetypal, it's far more broadly speaking, and it's like, it's not predictive in a doom and gloom way. It's far more beautiful and inviting and exciting, and showing how there's possibility for wonder even in the midst of these darkest hours, even in the midst of all the shit that's going on in the world, and there's no shortage of it. But this is the collapse. It's the dissolution of the old stuff into the dirt that becomes the fertilizer for the new growth. So there's our astrology. Let's jump into our meditation. Here's our 3 cards. But before I get into these, we're going to do our meditation together. So I just want to invite you, now that you've seen the cards, arriving into this space with me. Connecting with your breath. Maybe you choose to place your hands on your chest or your belly, perhaps one of each. Softening between your eyes and on the top of your head, allowing around the eyes to just soften. Allowing your jaw to fall open a bit. Your shoulders to move down from your ears. Breathing in, breathing out. You arrive in this moment. You, your breath, and the sound of my voice. Simply attune to your breathing without forcing it. Arriving into this moment in your body. Feeling the support of whatever you're sitting on as it holds you. Allowing whatever distracting noises might be happening externally to simply deepen your connection to yourself. Into your own galactic center. And when you're ready, I invite you to return to the space, return to me, and let's pick your card. Here you go. Card 1, card 2, card 3. Okay, here we go. Card 1, let's start. This is your selection. You got the Strength card. I love this card. This is the card of feminine leadership. So earlier I commented about that we haven't really been shown what it means to lead from a feminine essence, because by its nature, it's receptive. So what does that mean? What kind of bizarre dichotomy is that? How do you balance it? And so in my life, this has been like a story of my life. How do I find balance? What does it mean to lead myself and others in a way that feels regenerative rather than extractive? And, until just recently, I just have not figured it out. I haven't been able to find the balance. And what's arrived, what wisdom has been proffered and I finally received, was when you offer what's happening in your lifetime, in your body, when something happens and you start to feel uncomfortable, if you just voice the discomfort, like, oh, that just made me uncomfortable just now. Did you intend for it to? Or, oh, I'm feeling really scared and uncertain right now. Is there something we could do together to help me feel more secure? To identify what's going on and then to ask directly for what you want, because we've just been so conditioned to not ask. And so there's something really beautiful about that. And it's amazing the invitation that it creates, like this field, this energetic field of invitation into collaboration. Now, it doesn't always work, but to just have identified it for yourself is already leaving this habit of self-abandonment that we've been conditioned into. And the other energy about this card is this is like our inner wild self, our inner instincts, our more emotional self. And she's with it. She's present with it. She's not stifling it. She's not chaining it up, but nor is she being run amok by it, right? The lion isn't dragging her all over. There's this quiet presence where that emotional energy is being welcomed in and she's containing it, holding and voicing it. She's being a spokesperson for it, but in a measured way. This is the strength card. I hope that lands. Let me know if it does. Let me know if you'd like some work on that. If you wanted to role play what I'm talking about so it becomes more familiar. How to identify the feeling in you, and then how to vocalize that in a way that invites collaboration. Okay, there's that. Let's do card two. Card two. This is, what do we got here? The Three of Wands. Ooh, this is our blank canvas, our blank slate. How cool. How Sagittarius. Your life is a canvas and you get to paint it right now, right? This is so new moon energy. So if you could build the life of your dreams, what would it look like? Like, there are new opportunities coming along the horizon. The imagery, he's got his back to us in the more traditional deck. It's like he's standing on the top of a castle and there's this whole field and a horizon line here. And it is this like looking out to the horizon and welcoming in what new stuff wants to arrive. Like what map do you want to lay out for yourself? Or what do you want to call in? What do you want to attune to and align with? What would it be like to feel like you were co-creating your life in a way that was leading you somewhere that felt purposeful, that felt satisfying in a really deep way, that was like, what new prospects are maybe coming along the horizon? What is there? Like if you were to do a little meditation, this might be a fun little exercise. Closing your eyes and imagining yourself standing on the edge of a forest or on the top of the castle, and you're looking out over this horizon line, so right at the edge of the forest or like right on the cusp of an edge. You're on the edge of something. What is coming along that horizon line? What do you see marching towards you? Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it a feeling? Is it a color? What is arriving towards you? What are you magnetizing to you? That's fun. Let me know. Let me know what comes to you. I'd love to hear it. What else can I say about the Three of Wands? I want to pause and just like slow down because I'm noticing something. My dog is in her kennel and is making a racket, and it's very distracting. And one of the things that I do when I'm feeling agitated is I speak faster and I kind of low key dissociate. And so instead, I just want to arrive for my discomfort with her noise. I want to model this right now. I want to slow down, acknowledge that this is going on, recognize that I'm feeling anxious about it, that there's a degree of almost anger because I want it to stop so I can focus on this because it's so important to me. And because I've been spending a lot of time with her already. And so it's like, can't you just hang out by yourself for a few minutes? So these are all the things that are going on. And it's okay that all that is there. I know that the microphone isn't picking up the noise, so I can take comfort in that. I can relax and I can trust that it's all going to be okay. So how can you apply that same idea to whatever dreams are arriving in your life? Can you arrive in the moment as it is? Because this card isn't about taking action yet, it's about planning. So, can you cultivate a little bit of space under the noise, under the chaos of real life, to give yourself an opportunity to connect to whatever deep plan is within you, whatever deep. I mean, this is a great year for planning, a great time, I should say, of year for planning, because it isn't active, right? This is the winter. This is when things lay fallow. This is when things are gestating underground. So create a little pocket of space for yourself, especially in this hectic season, and journal about it. Just see what wants to arrive. Okay, there we go. I hope that landed. And thank you for your patience as I gathered my wits about me. Okay, last but not least, card 3. Here we go. If this was your selection, this is what you've got, the Queen of Cups reversed. So when it's reversed, this is either blocked or it's internalized. The Queen of Cups, she's about our emotions. So if this was your card selection, are you needing to cultivate some time and space for you to tune in like I just did to your emotions? Are you running ramshot over yourself trying to get your to-do list done right now? Conversely, are you enmeshing yourself in other people's emotions? Are you trying to insinuate yourself into other people's lanes so that you can feel useful? This can be a tough one to look at sometimes. Like, do I do that? Do I need to be needed? So do I always play the role of hero in dynamics so that I can be needed? It's an interesting self-reflection. Recognize how important feelings are to color life, but don't get pulled into them. This actually kind of ties into the strength card, the one card, because the lion could be our emotional body. Don't let it run the show. Be cognizant of it. Be present. Be a steward. Be a kahu for your feelings, but remain in leadership of them, not to stifle, but to allow them to inform. The feelings will show you where a boundary's been crossed, but it's the mental, it's your logic that needs to arrive for placing the clarity about where that boundary is. And incidentally, we don't ask to have our boundaries met, we inform where they are. And then others get to orienteer themselves to that information. And if they are choosing to not honor the boundary line that you've drawn, then the onus is on you to remove yourself from take your power back and adjust yourself to where you can now have your boundaries honored once more, even if that means you're alone. So yeah, allow your feelings to inform you, the Queen of Cups reversed. Take some time, connect with them. Do you need to draw a line somewhere? Are you ready to start building a life where it's based on your actual internal experience rather than what you keep telling yourself you should, need, and want? Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. If you want a reading, if you want a deep dive, because of course these are very general. If you want to go in and really get something that's honed in just for you, you know where to find me. The link to my calendar is in the description of the card or in the description of the video, as well as a pinned comment. Last final words. So there's two forces at work all the time, it would seem. The forces of chaos and the forces of order, the feminine and the masculine. For some of us, it's easy to live in a state of change. The courage to uproot our life and shift it is not the challenge. Freedom isn't the issue. Stability is. For others, they're root bound and deeply seated in their stability, and what they need is help shifting out. Maybe what you need isn't more certainty. Maybe what you need is uncertainty. But if you're like me and you're part of the other crew, and this was my big awakening moment this week, was recognizing, holy shit, I don't need more growth. I don't need more creativity. I don't need more willingness to burn the boats so that I have to go forward. I already live in that state. What I need is stability. I need continuity. I need containment. That masculine energy is what I have historically doled out to my partners and then gotten resentful about because, of course, the container they built for me, because I charged them with that, because I refused to do it myself, never fit me. Imagine that I would get irritated and blow that all up and then keep replanting myself over and over and over without ever allowing my roots to take hold and grow. Like if you've ever retransplanted a plant, like they're kind of like wilty for a while. So the wilty thing, I would take that and then I would retransplant. When this what's needed was for me to come home to myself and to recognize that I need something basic, simple, reliable. It's okay to need and want that. We live in a world where most people are too much that. So they do need the advice to get out of that container. But if you're the other kind, it's okay to recognize that you need containment, healthy containment that's sourced from your inner guidance system. Either way, I'm well versed in the blowing up containers. I'm starting to get really good at creating stability and containment in chilling. If you want to find out where you are on that spectrum, if you just need someone to bounce that off of so that you can self-discover that, let's do it. You can meet me down in the link. There's a to the calendar. You can DM me if that's more straightforward and easy. Let's set something up. Let's start this new year with way more clarity and with this beautiful balance of containment and creative expression, both. I hope that landed for you. Know that I love you. And as always, friends, we'll see you next Tuesday.